Hello, friend, and welcome to the 10-Minute Mind Shift Podcast. I'm your host, Janet Cagle, certified life coach, business strategist, and lover of all things related to up-leveling my life and yours. My goal is to help you experience a mind shift that gets you one step closer to your goals, whatever they are. My goal is not to keep you wrapped up in self-help all day, just 10 minutes. And who doesn't have 10 minutes, right? Welcome back, my friend. Are you ready for your 10-minute mind shift today? You are listening to episode 9, and today we're going to talk about living into your potential instead of your identity. Who am I? We all ask ourselves that question occasionally, and when we try to answer it, we tend to look backwards to find the answer. We tend to look at our identity in this way when we are faced with an unexpected change to our life, like losing a job, the end of a relationship, or the loss of a loved one. But it also comes up when we are intentionally trying to create an outcome or accomplish a goal in which our future self will be significantly different. For example, when trying to find a soulmate, or lose the weight, or get the promotion, launch the business, your life will be significantly different when you accomplish this goal. You will become significantly different as a result of your journey. Who we are, our identity, is how we see ourselves. It is our thoughts about us. How we see ourselves is what creates our results. Why this is so important is that we tend to live into our identity versus our potential. When we do that, we create blocks to the future that we want to create. We create barriers to creating the outcomes we want to create. So what does living into your identity look like? I'm just not organized. I'll never lose the weight. I'm just a yeller. I'm just not a person who... I've never been good with money. I've never been on time. I could never hang on to money. I'm just not that motivated. I just can't control my cravings and urges. I'm addicted to sugar. I'll always be addicted to sugar. I can't imagine ever being a normal weight. I'm just not a morning person. I'm always late. I'm just so busy. My life is nothing but chaos. These little sentences seem very benign and harmless, but when we describe ourselves like this, we eventually create the outcomes of these sentences. These sentences are the stories we tell ourselves and others about ourselves, and then this is exactly how we show up. I think a better question to ask yourself on your way to creating your results is, who do I want to be? What is my potential? One of the things that I like to talk about with my weight loss clients is, who will they be when they don't overeat anymore? Who will they be if they aren't making 2 and 3 trips to the all-you-can-eat buffet anymore? Who will they be if they aren't someone who eats a pint of ice cream before bed every night? And the reason that I ask this is that sometimes we associate the things that we do with who we are. We become attached to those behaviors as if it's part of our identity. Ask this question for any result that we want to create. Who could I be if I actually got up instead of hitting snooze 10 times? Who could I be if I show up as the manager that I want to be promoted to? Who could I be if I didn't walk around with a chip on my shoulder feeling entitled? Who could I be if I just stopped thinking I was so broken? Whenever we are trying to up-level our lives in any area, how you see yourself will create yourself. When we don't live into our potential and we live into our identity, we live into the person that we are. When we don't see the potential and start living into our potential, we pull our old self into the new outcome, and what happens is we rubber band back to the old identity. And this is really evident with lottery winners. When they take their old money thoughts and their money identity into their future self, they end up rubber banding back to their old money identity. I read some crazy statistic that said 74% of lottery winners are broke within 7 years. They live into their money identity. Many people who lose the weight gain it back, and they do it knowing exactly how it happens, but not realizing that they are living into their identity of always being overweight instead of their potential of learning how to control their cravings and urges. Some of the stories that I told myself that had me living in my identity instead of my potential was, I'm just a judgy and critical person. I just can't help it. I'm fine being angry. He deserves all of my anger. I only have so much emotional capacity, and I'm saving it for the people who show me that they really care about me. I don't need help. I'm fine. Do me wrong once, and you don't get a second chance. So, as you can probably imagine, I was not a whole lot of fun to be around. Most importantly, I wasn't a whole lot of fun for me to be around. And as you can imagine, I did not like that person very much, and I didn't see why anyone would like me either. And when they did, I was very suspect. When we don't live into our potential, we miss out on being the person who can achieve any result we want to invite, attract, and create, any outcome. When we don't live into our potential, we miss out on knowing that we can have the job, the relationship, the health that we want to experience. When we don't live into our potential, we carry the baggage of being the victim, the baggage of self-doubt, and maybe even the baggage of self-loathing. When we don't live into our potential, we feel out of control and like life is just happening to us, and this is just the way things are. This is just who I am. But we can have an organized life that is not dominated by worry, anxiety, overwhelm, and chaos. We can love and be loved without the fear of rejection or humiliation. We can launch a business and scale a business and be wildly successful. We can create the income of our heart's desire. We can be anyone that we want to be. We are not the stories that we tell ourselves about ourselves. This week, really listen to how you describe yourself to others. Listen to how you talk about you to you, and that is what you will create more of. It does not serve you to stay tied to the identity of your past, unless that is what you want to create more of. The story you tell yourself about yourself should be all about the person that you're becoming, the person that you are aspiring to be, your future self. I spend a lot of time talking to my clients and students about their future self, so I want to give you the 4-step process to living into your potential and creating the new identity of your future self. Number 1, decide. Identify the story that you tell yourself and others about yourself, and be very aware of the language that you use, and decide to let go of that old story. Decide that the old identity does not serve you any longer, and decide that that chapter of that story is over. Number 2, drop your old identity. Ask yourself, who could you be without that thought? If I dropped the thought that I was judgy and critical, who could I be? How could I show up if I stopped describing myself that way? Who could I be if I dropped the thought that I was a victim or that money just slips through my fingers? Whatever your go-to thought is, who could you be without it? Number 3, define your potential. How would your life be impacted and up-leveled by writing a new story about yourself? How would you show up if you stopped believing that you couldn't control your cravings and urges? How would your life be different if you knew that you were in charge of your brain instead of the other way around? Number 4, start living your new story, the one that has you living into your potential. Here is my parting thought. Your brain wants to prove your thoughts true, whether they are or not. You get to decide which thoughts to prove true. You get to rewrite the story of who you are right now today. You get to design the person that you are becoming. You can start living into your potential today. That's a wrap of the 10-Minute Mind Shift podcast. I hope that you were able to experience your own mind shift today. Listen, if you're ready to take this work to the next level, I highly recommend Life by Design Academy. It's my one-on-one coaching program that offers you a transformation at the speed of life.